Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hanratty'S Huddle, along with Dave Toromio and Terry Hanratty. I'm Rob Adams, and we'll start with college football. Things looking good for Notre Dame, and since we've got a Golden Domer on with us, and it's his show, we start with you, Terry. And Notre Dame right now looking like they're going to be a part of all of the fun coming up with the college football playoffs.
Well, after Texas A&M with a great victory in Texas, everybody was very optimistic. Then we stepped into a big hole with Northern Illinois, and everybody was ready to fire Marcus Freeman. And Notre Dame's season is over. But he put the team together again. I mean, that was a wonderful coaching deal on Marcus's part because you had a team that was a lot of kids were very young on that team, still are.
Yeah,
And to be able to mesh them along and bring the seniors up with the freshmen and get out of that big hole they're in. And they put a string together that was it was really cool. And to see them up there, and I think they deserve it. A lot of people talk about, the strength of schedule. Well, these schedules are made years in advance. And on our schedule this year, we had Florida State and we had Southern Cal along with the rest of the schedule. So those are two very, very good programs over the years. So how do you know this year they're not going to be that good?
I agree.
I think that we played the teams that we made a very difficult schedule, but the people we scheduled didn't hold up on their part of the bargain.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
And Alabama's getting in at 11. That would be Notre Dame's opponent right now. That knocks Miami out. Are we just favoring Alabama? Are we favoring the SEC? What's going on there with the college football world?
well, they can always twist it a little bit to get Alabama in.
Yeah.
Because, think about it. Alabama and Notre Dame, they're both big draws.
Yes.
So if these guys have a choice, do we do Alabama or do we do X school?
Yeah.
Well, let's bring in Alabama.
And
So-
in fairness, and due respect to Mark Jeffers and the Syracuse Orange, if you're Miami, you just can't go up there and get beat and give up 40 whatever it was points, and lose to the Syracuse that way when you have that much on the line. So I think they were exposed, and it's probably a good thing because now you got Clemson, SMU in the ACC championship game, right? So listen, I mean, I do think that they think the SEC is a stronger conference, right?
Well, I think you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC are always going to be your strongest conferences, no doubt.
Getting back to Notre Dame for a second, Terry, there is some talk about Marcus Freeman potentially as being a suitor by maybe the Bears or another NFL team.
Well, I think that's the logical situation now. Here you got a young, successful coach.
Yep.
And everybody's going after him. Now you even throw in Ohio State.
And Ohio
I mean,
State,
they're talking about
yeah.
the coach they got there now that he can't beat Michigan, so let's bring in an alumnus who played here and coached here as assistant.
Yeah.
Let's bring him back to his alma mater, which would be, I think, the toughest part to do.
And if
think Marcus
you're
wants to
Ryan
go-
Day, how are you losing to Michigan like this over and over again, and kind of losing control of the team after it's over with the whole flag planting thing?
23.5 point favorite
Yeah.
at home. How do you lose that game?
And you
That's coaching. That is all. And the thing is, they're not a running team. They have some great receivers. Throw the football. Do what you do best. Michigan came out there and they ran the ball and they cut the clock down and just kept possession of the ball. And it was a thing of beauty what Michigan did.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a big fan of either teams, but I think what they did was really good. And Ohio State tried to run the ball, and when you get back by that, you have to start throwing. Use your strength. You got probably one of the best receivers in the country. Get him the ball somehow.
Yeah. When you throw an interception, when you're driving for a touchdown, and we all know turnovers are going to kill you, and they killed Ohio State. And quite frankly, disappointing, Rob, as you mentioned, the whole thing, and especially the way Ryan Day handled it, and even the things he said after about the flag incident.
Horrible.
Just terrible. The whole thing was handled too badly.
I mean, my take is to the victor goes the spoils. You guys won, and you won at the Horseshoe. I think the flag planting's silly, but it's still, they won. It was their opportunity.
But
no, I totally disagree.
Yeah.
You cannot plant your flag on someone else's 50-yard line.
Yeah.
In football. That's a really rubbing it in your face, and you can't let it happen. And the thing is, Ryan Day, he didn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, he was standing. They showed them. He asked one of the players, "What's going on out there?"
Yeah, he knew.
He should have been out there figuring out what the hell's going on.
Mm.
I mean, but you can't. I mean, we had so many of these things. Yeah, and you can go out to
There were 3 of them that day.
Nebraska, Iowa,
North Carolina
the
State.
thing of this rule, this coach at Nebraska, I don't think he's going to last much longer because I think he wears thin wherever he goes.
Yeah, he does.
But when I saw the 2 players from Iowa, they were warming up, and Rule walked through their warm-ups.
Yeah,
That's a big no-no and he knows better. He's the head coach of the team.
That's right.
And if I was the AD, I would fire him right there on that.
Yeah.
Because that's just an insulting thing you do. You're trying to intimidate 20-year-old kids, and that should not play.
That is a scumbag.
Then he says, I didn't realize my captains didn't shake hands with the Iowa kids. The coach is looking out there.
Come on.
Because he has to say, do we have the kickoff team? Do we have the receiving team in? So he's looking out in the field and seeing who won the flip of the coin. And you're going to see whether who's shaking hands. Because there's always a potential something goofy going on in a handshake too. So Rule knew about it, and it's disgusting that had to happen. But Iowa really showed their class, and they just beat them, and that was it.
Yeah. And so, staying with college football for a second, just to wrap through the schedule for this week, we got these championship games, the Mountain West Conference, UNLV at Boise State. I think Boise State's got a pretty good running back there. The MAC, nobody cares about, sorry. Big 12, Iowa State, Arizona State, interesting. Obviously, Georgia, Texas, and the SEC.
I think I said it a long time ago. I think Texas is the best team in the country. I think they have everything. But it used to be where they always had offense. And you could always run the ball or do whatever you want to their defense. But now they have a defense. Yeah. So I think they have everything going for them. So I think it's going to be very difficult to knock Texas off.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. And shall we segue to the NFL, a league where they wacky?
Yeah, I think we should. And the first thing that jumps out to me was where did all the Steelers' offense come from last week? But more to the point, is George Pickens becoming a problem in terms of some of his antics?
I mean, good call, because what he did in a couple of those plays in that game was just a pro cannot do that. And give it to Tomlin. He did say after the game that he's got to grow up.
Yes.
And I saw that they were talking to him on the sideline also. But, the kid, the old leopard can't change his spots. He's done it all his life. He was allowed to do it in high school and college. Now he's doing it in the pros. He's a great receiver, but he can make a very short career if he keeps his stuff up. Because those penalties he's getting are crazy. Luckily, the Steelers didn't need the penalty for the yardage. It didn't hurt him, but no, I mean, he just can't do that stuff.
And Russell playing, I mean, what can I say? He's playing great.
I would have never called that.
No.
In fact, when they made the change, I thought that they were going to give Russell a chance, see how he'd do. I thought Fields deserved to stay in there, but then Russell come out and played like he's never played.
He's played
very well, very well.
And I saw a writer say, is Russell in the MVP conversation? Calm down. That's a bit much. That's a bit much.
Yeah, let's go way back. Let's start. Let's just win next week.
Yeah,
Joe Burrow is having a very fine season. His team just sucks.
Yeah, I agree. And to me, the MVP conversation is largely centered around Josh Allen, who is off the charts right now. That play on Sunday night where he took the pitch back, pretty incredible. Pretty great.
Yeah.
Well, how about the receiver who had the wherewithal to look for him?
Yeah.
And pitch it back to him.
Yeah.
I mean, Allen did a great job of getting in the end zone. I mean, just laid out and just flew about 3 yards in the air.
That's stuff we used to do on the playground.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very true.
Did you fly in the air like that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, a little higher though.
I
had some up stuff.
Hey,
speaking of high, how about that? The Notre Dame game. I flash back to that one.
Oh my God, the leap!
The kid
what incredible!
He jumped over 2 people. Look like
his vertical leap has got to be 48 inches. I mean, I've seen him do that before.
Yeah.
I mean, he's amazing.
And it's like
running back from Notre Dame. It's
like a hurdle, but it's really high. I mean, it was just.
It's like a deer jumping over.
You see a lot of guys hurdling, but this guy went so high. Luckily, he didn't get caught in the air like that. I mean, he was really up there.
Problem is, guys try to hurdle who really shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
You get these
couple tight ends.
6'5" tight ends things.
Yeah, and they hit the guy in the ribs with their feet.
That. It's like, no. You go through people. You don't go over them.
But
all right, so the Steelers will have the Browns.
We'll get the Browns. We had we had problem with the last game. Jameis Winston, he is really hot or cold.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Last week he threw the 2 pick sixes.
Yeah.
Against us, he couldn't miss.
Right.
And with bad weather, snow, I don't know what it's going to be like in Pittsburgh, but I think it's going to be okay. But it's, they got to keep winning. I would have never thought at this point, I would have never thought they would have been in this situation. And I thought it was a real rebuilding year, but they look really good.
They look really good, and the Ravens don't look really good. So, to me, you got to just keep doing what you're doing, and you have to beat the Browns this week. You have to beat the Browns.
Yes.
And the Ravens now have some internal problems, too, which you don't need that on your team. They just suspended a player. And those things happen. They tend to have a trickle down effect to the rest of the group. So we'll see what happens with them. But
and Dave, talk about problems. I mean, what's going on with Justin Tucker is you're talking about arguably the greatest kicker ever, and this is tough to watch. And look, I'm not a Ravens fan. Obviously, I'm a Steelers fan. I almost feel bad for him because he's so great.
It's got to be like a golfer getting the yips, right?
And for him to get that extra point.
Yeah,
that extra point.
No, you're right.
Who was Chuck Knobloch?
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
That ground. We'll stay in Pittsburgh with
Steve Blass.
Steve Blass. That's it. I know Steve well because he couldn't find the plate.
No.
And before that, he was a control pitcher. And all of a sudden he comes out and he can't walk everybody.
A catcher years ago by the name of Mackie Sasser.
Yeah.
He couldn't throw the ball back to the mound.
Or Rick Ankiel.
Every time. Yeah. Rick Ankiel, pitcher. Who was it? There was another second baseman besides Knobloch, wasn't there?
There was, and I'm brain locked.
Knobloch the one who threw the ball to the stands and hit somebody.
He couldn't hit the first baseman, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Good game tonight, guys. Packers-Lions. That should be interesting. I just wish it wasn't indoors. I hate the indoor games. I'd rather see the elements.
But a great game. The Lions have put themselves really at the top of the NFL food chain right now. They are playing so well.
Banged up, though.
They are banged up, but let's face it, building from last year, this is one of the NFL's great stories, and I think a lot of people are just into the idea of seeing a different team go to and maybe win a Super Bowl, and the Lions could be that team right now, but the Packers are NFL royalty, and can't argue that either.
Well, they got to give Campbell a lot of credit.
Yeah.
I mean, that Detroit franchise had been so bad for so many years, and for him to step in like that, and he made some great trades. We're getting rid of Stafford. I like Matt Stafford. I think he's really a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Famer, I think.
Yeah.
And, to make the switch, I mean, it's really hard to do, and they brought in some good people. Yeah. And they did it by bringing in, a lot of times have the success when they have a young quarterback because they have to just pay him rookie money. Then when he makes the big, get through the rookie contract, you got to pay him the big dollars. Then you have to, start doing away with your quality linemen or quality receivers or whatever just to fit into the salary cap.
Yeah.
But, he did it the right way. He did a good job. You got to give Campbell a lot of credit.
And Jared Goff, I mean, I thought he was just going to be kind of a game manager. He revived his career in Detroit. He has played tremendous football.
Sure does,
And the people are loving it, too.
Yeah.
I mean, they are really backing that team. And it's good to see. I mean, it's an area that needs a winner. It's good.
It really does, yeah.
And
it's the last time Detroit win anything.
We could be heading toward possibly an Eagles-Lions NFC championship game. I mean, a long way to go still, but could happen.
Oh, it certainly could, because the Niners are they've just fallen out of contention. And everybody thought they were going to be the team to beat.
Well, that's a team that's decimated.
Decimated. McCaffrey's out again, and I do think that's a feat. And a couple of things on the Denver Broncos. One, Terry and I really pat each other on the back.
We should.
We both said Bo Nix was the guy we would take out of that draft,
and he was the sixth guy picked in that draft, sixth quarterback.
Right?
That's right.
Everybody.
And the second thing is our new Canaanite Zach Allen is probably going to be an All-Pro.
Probably.
Yeah. which is very. I mean, the guy works his ass off too. So good for him.
Hey,
good for him.
Shout out to Lou Marinelli and New Canaan High School as they move on to another state semifinal. So
and Lou now over 400 victories.
Tremendous.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's a lot of years.
And a Greenwich Staples rerun, huh? That's going to be interesting.
That'll be interesting. Staples beat up on Greenwich 27-0 on Thanksgiving, so I'll be at that one doing the play-by-play on Sunday. Be a lot of fun.
And we may have another state championship where we have a New Canaan Darien rematch too.
That's right.
That'd be interesting. So okay. So our fans in California are probably going, what the hell?
Who is Darien? Who is New Canaan?
Little Connecticut high school football.
All right. So good stuff there. What are we? Oh, so we're going to do a little baseball?
Let's hit baseball for a moment.
There's only one person to talk about baseball.
Right, Luis
Juan
Severino,
Soto.
who just signed with the Luis Severino did leave the Mets. He just signed a deal with the Athletics, as they are now known. But regardless of that, Juan Soto. And we think by the time we reconvene for next week's podcast, he will have his home once and for all. And for the love of Babe Ruth, can we get it over with, please?
Get it over with. No, it gets to the point where it's just...
Okay, who wants to? Let's make a pick. Who do you think?
I'm going to say Mets. Pains me to say it, but I'm saying Mets.
Wow.
I think they're using the Mets to drive up the price. I just hope it's not God, please don't go to the Dodgers.
Okay.
I may have to stop watching baseball. And then it's golden. We didn't get into this last night.
Golden bat.
Rob Manfred has got to go. But where do I think he's going? I think he's going back to the Yankees.
Interesting. I think
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree with Dave.
Interesting.
I think the Yankees. And I think the Mets are doing that, just driving up the price to put it to them. But, so that's all speculation. But the real truism you brought, how can the Dodgers afford all these players?
Oh, yeah. And deferred payments. Why isn't everybody doing that?
Well, the Pirates love it because they everything over that salary cap, man, they're getting big money.
Yeah, but the deferring payments doesn't account against their look.
No, it's got to be something to that. I mean, the league's got to step in. If they're deferred $700 million,
I totally agree.
Or $600 million, these teams, there's more than the Pirates. It's my home team, so that's the one I bitch about.
Sure.
But there's several teams getting a lot of money, supposedly to put back into their franchise, but Pirates don't seem to do that. So they've got this deferred payment. It's got to be off the board as far as paying your over the salary cap.
Yeah.
I'm more of a build a team, and not have one superstar making all the money type of person. But this is the world, that we exist in. So,
well, the Yankees need more than Soto. Put it that way.
They need some more stuff too. Yeah,
I mean, they got to really solidify their pitching. The second base is going to be gone, so they got to bring in someone there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that's out there.
Sounds like there's movement on the Max Fried front with the Yankees. They had a meeting, and it sounds like Fried is intrigued by playing in New York. So that may be something.
Yeah, he's a good pitcher.
Yeah, very good pitcher.
He's a good southpaw for sure. So that would be good for them.
Well,
yeah, well, we'll see. I think once Soto happens, I think we're going to see the dam burst and players will start moving around. So hopefully,
I think you're right. Everybody's waiting for that. Okay, now we can all line up. Right,
and the winter meetings are about to get underway, so we're pretty close to some stuff happening.
And Scott Boras will go buy himself a new jet.
Oh, boy. And we'll, I believe, have a new Hall of Famer by the time next week happens, because that normally gets the Veterans Committee
meets there.
Yeah. And that happens at the winter meeting, so we'll get that announced.
Yeah. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to our partners. We're not there today, obviously. Connecticut State, Norwalk, went there on Tuesday night and saw all the kids and thanked them. Terry bought them pizza for their pizza party, which they were very appreciative of. He couldn't make it because he was under the weather, but we will do more with them in the spring. It'll be a different group of kids, but we can charge them a little differently. We know we want to do some more marketing and promotion of this podcast and other things that we're working on. So,
but it's a great organization. Yeah. It's a great facility. And they're very nice people. We work very well together. So that's good.
Yes, sir.
Good for everybody.
Yeah, I love it. I hope to be a bigger part of it during the next semester, just supporting these students. Hey, that's what we should be doing. Pay it forward.
Absolutely.
because they have some bright minds there.
Yes, they do.
So
yes, they
we could use all the help we can get.
That's true. That is true.
That is very true. Gentlemen, are we good for today?
I think it's a wrap.
I think it's a wrap, bud.
And there we go. That'll do it for this edition of Hanratty'S Huddle. We will see you next week as we get ready for the holidays and move into 2025. For Terry Hanratty, Dave Toromio, I'm Rob Adams. Thanks for listening to Hanratty'S Huddle.